In Titan, The Life of John D. Rockefeller Sr., Ron Chernow tells the powerful and formative story of how a young John D. Rockefeller, just 16 years old, methodically searched for his first job in Cleveland, Ohio. It's a classic example of grit and persistence that foreshadowed the steel-willed tenacity he would later use to build Standard Oil. Here's a retelling of that segment from Chernow's biography. In 1855, after finishing a brief course in bookkeeping at Folsom's Commercial College, young Rockefeller donned his best suit, packed a small lunch each day, and began going door to door in Cleveland's business district to apply for work as a clerk or bookkeeper. He had no connections, no experience, and no real plan, just determination. Each morning, he would pray for strength and guidance and set out on his self-imposed mission. Chernow describes how Rockefeller systematically canvassed the city's commercial establishments, sometimes retracing his steps to places that had already turned him away. He faced rejection after rejection. Some business owners dismissed him without a second glance. Others allowed him to wait only to tell him there were no openings. Still, he pressed on. This job hunt went on for 6 weeks. Each day he grew more anxious, but never gave in to despair. He wrote later in life that this period of searching was so emotionally intense that it left a lasting impression on him, noting that he could never forget the humiliation and uncertainty, but also the lessons it taught him about perseverance. Finally, on September 26, 1855, he walked into the offices of Hewitt and Tuttle, a small firm dealing in produce, grain, and coal. There he was offered a position as an assistant bookkeeper. His starting pay was $16 a month. That day, September 26th, became so important to Rockefeller that he celebrated it for the rest of his life as Job Day, a personal holiday to mark the beginning of his business career. He often said that finding that first job was one of the hardest and most defining moments in his life. It's a vivid illustration of persistence, discipline, and faith that defined Rockefeller's character long before he built one of the most powerful business empires in history. This is such a great story for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is it reminds me that most of the things that we look back on as the greatest achievements or just the greatest events in life. Like Rockefeller considers September 26, 1855 Job Day, a holiday. He never forgot it and recognized it for the rest of his life. As we look back on our lives, it never fails that those things that come to mind that meant the most to us usually involve some sort of struggle, some sort of perseverance, something that at the time was painful, that was daunting, that was causing us anxiety. But as we look back on it, it's now in the artifacts of our life as something that we cherish and we never want to forget. So as we go about our day, one of the things I think we should always do is if you're caught in those moments, I think it's a good idea to look at these hard, difficult struggles as something that will one day possibly be the greatest day of your life. It will possibly be the greatest moment of your life, whatever valley that we might be in, which by the way, it's in the valley that the really good stuff grows. It's not on the mountaintop. It's in the valley where the green, lush stuff grows. So if we're in those valleys, we have to stop and take a moment and ask ourselves, what is my purpose in this moment? That was the entire idea behind logotherapy, which was developed by Viktor Frankl. And this is the entire idea that he put forth in his book, Man's Search for Meaning. It's not life just happening to you, but happening much like Tony Robbins talks about, life happening for you. What is life doing for you in that moment, even in those horrible, difficult moments that seem so dark? John D. Rockefeller, he was stressed out. He was anxious. But he looked back on that time as something so memorable, so worthy of cherishing, that he made it a holiday. So as we go about our days, let's do that. I'm going to try to do it. I've got some stuff right now that looks like these mountains that I've got to climb, but I'm going to try to find a way to enjoy it, to embrace it, and know that one day I'll look back on it and it'll probably be one of the best times of my life. I'm Jason, and I'm out.